Welcome back, guys. It's great to have you here again. Today, we're checking out another awesome budget PC build. This time, we've pushed the limits to keep everything within just £150. Stick around. You won't believe what we fit into this price range. So, we ended up with some pretty bargain basement parts here. As you can imagine, at this price point, we put together an X99 base system running Intel's i7-5930K and a Radeon R9380X with 4GB. I know, you're probably thinking, why on earth use that card? Personally, I would have gone with something like a GTX 1650 or maybe a 1060 with 6GB. Both would make more sense at this price. But this 380X has been sitting dormant in my stash for a while, and I figured, why not dust it off and see what it's still capable of? It's important to mention, this isn't necessarily the exact spec I'd recommend if you were shopping in this range, but it's always interesting to see how older hardware stacks up, especially when you're trying to squeeze every ounce of performance out of a really tight budget. So let's talk specs. We've ended up with a Machinist X99 PR9 motherboard, and get this, it costs just £27.73, including shipping from AliExpress. This board is outstanding value. You can usually find them bundled with RAM and a Xeon CPU for around the £50 mark, a serious bargain. In our case, we bought the board on its own and paired it with an Intel i7-5930K we already had. Now, if I were buying from scratch, I'd personally choose the Xeon bundle. It outperforms the i7 dramatically in multi-core workloads, but the i7-5930K is still an incredible deal, just £12 at CX. Moving on to memory. We used a mix of 4GB modules, some at 2400 mega transfers, others at 2666. These boards can be very picky about RAM. As you'll see, not all of our modules played nicely. The Machinist board in particular dislikes SK Hynix chips, so we had to settle on just 8GB of 2666 memory. Still, 2 sticks of 8GB DDR4 are only £16 at CX, an easy upgrade. Storage? Well, we plan to use a 1TB NVMe drive from AliExpress we bought over a year ago, but it turned out to be a dummy. Yes, we were scammed, so instead we grabbed a 256GB Micron NVMe for just £8 at CEX. Rock solid, and we can always add a cheap terabyte SATA drive later. Now, the graphics card, the Radeon R938X. We already had one, but you can pick one up today for around £28. The cooler required a little improvisation. We used a dirty cable tie mod because the AM4 style cooler just didn't fit these X99 mounts correctly. If you're building your own, I'd recommend a DSX99 cooler, only $7.99 on Amazon. Perfect fit, and we've used them many times on X99 builds. And finally, the case and power supply. For the case, we went with the cheapest available on Amazon, the Mars Gaming Takes-Ins Mini M80X. It's not flashy, it's not exciting, but at £25, it did the job. I was a little worried about thermals. After all, the 380X may be old, but it's still a chunky GPU. The power supply? A hold for turn 500-watt unit, just £15. I know, that probably has a lot of you worried, but we've used this exact PSU in over 100 builds, and it hasn't let us down once. So, what did it all cost? Just £128. That's an insanely low entry point into PC gaming. But the big question is, how did it perform in our benchmarks? As you can see from these benchmarks, this PC performed really well at 1080p. Even in more demanding titles, we averaged around 50 to 60 frames per second, and in esports titles, well over 120 FPS. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and maybe it gave you a little food for thought. Join me in the next one, and goodbye for now.